For technology companies, there's some real challenges because first they've got to figure out what the market needs. And then the other part, once they do that, then they have to develop a technology that works. And so to me, it seems there's not a really efficient process to go from having an idea for a technology to basically getting it to market. So it seems like to me that's one of the real gaps that we have as an industry is taking that technology from concept all the way to basically putting it in the field for implementation. So basically we developed what we're calling the 4 C's to represent this process to help technology companies and really operators at the same time use the technology to make a difference in industry. And the 4 C's stand for critique, calibrate, certify, and connect. And what critique means, as the name implies, is that you're basically looking at that technology and you're saying, does that technology do what it's supposed to? And a lot of times what it means is if you go to somebody's website, they'll make a claim about that technology. Can it really do what it's supposed to? And so that's where this critique process comes in. Also, it's about really asking the hard question, does the market really need the technology that you have? Calibrate basically means that you're optimizing that technology to meet the needs of the industry. As an engineer, from an engineering standpoint, that's where a lot of the effort goes into technology development, is just making sure that it does what it needs to. And sometimes when you go through that process, you wind up tweaking a few things. So where you first start in the calibration process may be very different than when you get toward the end. And then the third one is the certify, and basically that's getting a third-party organization, which is what ADV Integrity is going to do, is to come in and look at your technology. If there is an industry standard, does that technology meet the standard? Sometimes there are not standards for certain technologies. So what it boils down to is, does your technology do what you say that it can do? And the last one is the connect. And sometimes as an engineer, we get focused on the calibration and the critiquing and the certifying. But as a business owner, once you've gone through the first 3 C's, you want to make sure that how do we best connect to industry? And so the 4th C is basically establishing that connection between the technology provider and the user who needs that technology. As basic as it sounds, what the operator is really looking for is technology that works. One of my favorite quotes from Ronald Reagan is trust but verify. And I've talked to many operators over the past 2 decades, and almost always if you ask them what they want, they're like, look, Chris, if we've got a technology that someone's selling to us and it makes these claims, we just want to make sure that it does what it's supposed to. Because from an operator standpoint, there's a certain amount of risk that if they put these technologies in service and they don't function properly, operational efficiencies are at risk. And sometimes if things go really wrong, lives are at risk. So at the end of the day, the operator wants to reduce risk and they want the technology to work as originally designed. I think about in terms of certification, an analogy is if you're good at something, you tell people you're good at it, but if you're great at it, you don't have to say anything. And so what the certification does is it basically is a third-party, independent, unbiased organization that comes in and evaluates the technology. And when that outside organization says that it's good and it's gone through the necessary rigor to demonstrate that it works, that's a very powerful concept. And in some industries, certainly the defense industry, there's a real push toward implementing technologies that have been reviewed. In the oil and gas industry, the same as well. There's a lot of standards out there that people have to meet those requirements, whether they be API or ASME or ISO, before companies will use those technologies. So that's the importance of the certification process.